When most people think of posture, they picture how they look standing in a mirror, but posture goes far beyond appearance. It is the alignment of bones, muscles, and joints that determines how your body distributes weight and handles everyday stress. Poor posture is not just a bad habit, it becomes a structural problem that slowly reshapes the way your body functions. Imagine holding a bowling ball at arm's length. The further away it is from your body, the heavier it feels. The same principle applies to your head. The moment it drifts forward from its natural position, the strain multiplies, and the structures of the neck are forced to bear weight they were never designed to handle. Your head on average weighs around 10 to 12 pounds. That doesn't sound like much, but in proper alignment, that weight is evenly balanced over the spine and supported by strong postural muscles. The problem begins when modern habits like looking down at phones or hunching over computers cause your head to jut forward. At just 2 inches forward, that 12 pounds can feel like 30. Push it forward a little more, and you're placing the equivalent of 40 to 50 pounds of stress on your cervical spine and supporting muscles. Over time, this leads to chronic stiffness, muscle imbalances, and early degeneration in the vertebrae. The muscles that hold up your head, especially the trapezius, levator scapulae, and deep neck flexors, are constantly forced into overdrive when posture breaks down. Instead of working in balance, some muscles tighten and shorten while others weaken and lengthen. This imbalance creates constant pulling forces that strain joints and compress nerves. It's why so many people feel knots in their shoulders or burning tension at the base of the skull. These aren't random aches, they are the direct result of muscles fighting against poor mechanics every single day. The structural changes go deeper than the muscles. Forward head posture alters the natural curve of the cervical spine, flattening or even reversing it in severe cases. This curvature is essential for absorbing shock and protecting the spinal cord. When it's lost, the discs and joints take on extra pressure, wearing down faster and increasing the risk of herniation, arthritis, and pinched nerves. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's the cumulative damage of years spent sitting, slouching, and neglecting the foundation of proper alignment. Breathing is another hidden casualty of poor posture. When the head is forward and the shoulders rounded, the rib cage becomes compressed. This reduces lung expansion and forces shallow breathing, depriving the body of oxygen. Over time, reduced oxygen delivery affects energy levels, concentration, and even mood. Many people don't connect their fatigue or brain fog to posture, but the restriction of airflow and blood flow is a powerful underlying factor that few consider. This means that fixing posture not only relieves neck and shoulder pain, but also improves how the entire body functions on a daily basis. One of the most insidious aspects of poor posture is that it doesn't always cause immediate pain. The body is remarkably adaptive, and at first you may not notice anything beyond mild stiffness. But as weeks turn into months and months into years, the stress accumulates. The muscles begin to spasm more often, the joints become inflamed, and the nerves may start to send signals of tingling or numbness down the arms. What began as a simple slouch becomes a cascade of dysfunction that affects movement, energy, and overall health in ways people often fail to recognize. Technology has magnified this issue more than any other factor in modern life. People spend hours bent over phones, laptops, or tablets, training their bodies into unhealthy alignment. Children and teenagers, still in their critical growth years, are developing postural distortions once only seen in older adults. This means the problem is not just widespread, it is becoming generational. Unless addressed, the structural weaknesses being created today will lead to even more severe neck and shoulder pain, spinal issues, and mobility problems in the future. Correcting posture is not about standing perfectly straight all the time, it is about retraining the body to return to its natural alignment. This requires strengthening the deep, stabilizing muscles of the neck and core, stretching the overworked tissues, and becoming mindful of daily habits that encourage slouching. Small adjustments, like raising a screen to eye level or setting reminders to sit tall, can make a massive difference over time. By addressing posture not as an afterthought, but as a key factor in overall health, you reduce not only the strain on the neck and shoulders, but also the systemic effects that ripple throughout the body. Most people believe neck and shoulder pain comes directly from local tension, but the truth is that the body works as an interconnected system, and weakness in one area forces another to overcompensate. The core muscles, which include the abdominals, obliques, lower back, and deep stabilizers, are designed to act like a natural corset that holds everything upright and balanced. When these muscles are strong and engaged, they take the pressure off the smaller muscles of the neck and shoulders. However, when the core is weak, stability is lost, and the body searches for another way to stay upright. This burden often falls on the upper back, shoulders, and cervical spine, leading to chronic strain and discomfort. Think of the core as the foundation of a building. If the foundation is weak or unstable, the upper structure must bear loads it wasn't designed for. In the body, this means the neck and shoulder muscles end up doing the job of stabilizing the torso, which they are not meant to handle. Instead of functioning as movers and supporters, they become constant stabilizers, tightening and tensing in an attempt to keep the body aligned. This constant overuse creates muscle fatigue, stiffness, and eventually pain that radiates upward into the head or downward into the arms. The connection between weak core muscles and neck pain is one of the most overlooked causes of chronic discomfort. Weakness in the lower body further amplifies this chain reaction. If the glutes and lower back are underdeveloped, the pelvis tilts out of position, creating an unstable base. This misalignment forces the spine into unnatural curves, and the neck becomes the final link that compensates for balance. For example, if the pelvis tilts forward, the head shifts out of line to counterbalance the body, placing constant strain on the cervical region. What many people blame on, sleeping wrong, or bad posture, often begins with an unstable pelvis and underactive core muscles that cascade tension all the way up to the shoulders and neck. Breathing mechanics are also tied to core function, and when the core is weak, breathing patterns become shallow and inefficient. Instead of engaging the diaphragm and deep stabilizers, people rely heavily on the accessory muscles in the neck and shoulders to pull in air. Over time, this habitual overuse of neck muscles during breathing creates additional tension and soreness. Every breath becomes a workout for muscles that were never meant to handle that role, compounding the problem. This is why individuals with weak cores often notice tightness not only when moving but even at rest, since breathing alone keeps the neck under strain throughout the day. Daily habits that fail to challenge or engage the core only make the issue worse. Long hours of sitting, lack of resistance training, or even repetitive movements that don't recruit the abdominal and spinal stabilizers allow these muscles to weaken further. Without proper core activation, even simple movements like walking, lifting, or turning require the shoulders and neck to help stabilize the body. This creates a vicious cycle where the core weakens more with inactivity, while the upper body grows more fatigued with overuse. Recognizing this connection is crucial for breaking the cycle of recurring neck and shoulder pain. Another aspect often overlooked is how balance and coordination depend heavily on core stability. When you move, your core muscles engage first to create a stable base, allowing the arms and legs to work effectively. Without this engagement, movements become sloppy and other muscles must step in to compensate. The neck and shoulder muscles frequently become these backup stabilizers, firing constantly to make up for the lack of core activation. This not only leads to strain but also prevents those upper muscles from recovering properly, leaving them tight and inflamed most of the time. Stress on the joints is yet another byproduct of weak core muscles. When the spine is not supported correctly, it compresses unevenly, causing additional pressure on the discs and vertebrae. The neck feels this instability more than any other area, since it must carry the weight of the head while balancing the misalignment below. Over time, this can create nerve irritation, reduced mobility, and chronic pain that feels like it originates in the shoulders or upper back but actually stems from instability lower down. By tracing the root cause, it becomes clear that strengthening the core is essential to alleviating pressure throughout the body. The solution requires retraining the body to rely on the core as its stabilizer once again. Strengthening exercises that target the deep abdominal muscles, lower back, and pelvic stabilizers restore balance and alignment to the entire spine. When the core is activated properly, the neck and shoulders can return to their natural role of assisting with movement rather than holding up the entire body. This shift not only reduces pain but also improves overall posture, energy efficiency, and resilience in daily activities. By developing a strong and supportive core, the body distributes stress evenly, allowing the neck and shoulders to finally relax from the constant burden of compensation. Stress is one of the most underestimated causes of physical pain, yet it leaves a very real imprint on the body, especially in the neck and shoulders. When the body perceives stress, whether from emotional tension, work pressure, or unresolved worry, the brain signals the adrenal glands to release cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones prepare the body for fight or flight, tightening muscles to guard against potential danger. While this response is helpful in short bursts, constant stress keeps the muscles in a state of contraction, especially in the trapezius and cervical region. Over time, this tension becomes chronic, turning what should be temporary tightness into a constant ache that never seems to fully release. The connection between the mind and muscle tension is so strong that many people carry the weight of their emotions physically. Stress does not float around in the air, it manifests as stiff shoulders, clenched jaws, and restricted movement in the neck. If you've ever noticed your shoulders creeping upward toward your ears during a stressful day, that's the body's way of bracing itself. Unfortunately, when this happens repeatedly, the nervous system begins to program the muscles to stay in that shortened, contracted state. The result is not only discomfort but also reduced flexibility, restricted blood flow, and a greater likelihood of tension, headaches radiating from the base of the skull. Cortisol, the stress hormone, also disrupts the natural balance of recovery within muscles. Elevated cortisol levels reduce the body's ability to repair and rebuild tissues effectively. This means that after long hours of stress, the tight muscles in the neck and shoulders do not get the relaxation or recovery they need even during sleep. In fact, many people wake up with sore, stiff necks not because of poor sleeping positions, but because their muscles remain tensed all night from unresolved stress. This chronic activation drains energy, weakens the immune system, and amplifies sensitivity to pain, creating a cycle that links emotional strain directly to physical discomfort. Breathing patterns under stress also play a significant role in the development of neck and shoulder pain. When anxiety rises, breathing tends to become shallow and rapid, often centered in the upper chest instead of the diaphragm. This forces the accessory muscles of the neck and shoulders to help pull in air, a function they were never designed to perform constantly. Over time, these muscles become overworked and sore from their secondary role as breathing assistants. What begins as stress-induced shallow breathing gradually transforms into muscular fatigue that contributes to long-term pain and discomfort. Another factor that makes stress so damaging to the body is how it affects posture unconsciously. Under tension, people hunch their shoulders forward, round their backs, or crane their necks without even realizing it. This defensive posture may feel natural in the moment, but it reinforces the mechanical imbalances that place heavy strain on the cervical spine and shoulder joints. The longer someone stays in this position, the more the muscles adapt to it, locking the body into patterns that fuel both mental stress and physical tension. These postural shifts further compress nerves and blood vessels, worsening the symptoms that stress already triggers. The impact of stress on circulation adds another layer of complication. Tight muscles caused by chronic stress restrict blood flow and nutrient delivery to tissues in the neck and shoulders. This lack of circulation creates a buildup of metabolic waste products, which irritates nerves and increases soreness. The reduced oxygen supply also slows healing, making minor strains feel like ongoing injuries. The body's natural rhythm of tension and release becomes skewed, and instead of cycles of relaxation, the muscles remain locked in a state of fatigue and irritation that intensifies the perception of pain. Psychological stress also magnifies the perception of pain through the brain's processing of sensory signals. When the nervous system is in a heightened state, it interprets normal muscle signals as more painful than they would otherwise feel. This phenomenon, known as pain amplification, means that someone under heavy stress might feel neck and shoulder discomfort far more intensely than someone who is relaxed, even if their physical condition is the same. This creates a feedback loop. Stress increases tension, tension increases pain, and pain increases stress, trapping individuals in a cycle that seems impossible to break without conscious intervention. Daily routines that fail to address stress only strengthen this destructive cycle. Hours spent under pressure at work, poor sleep, lack of exercise, and overstimulation from constant screens all push cortisol levels higher and keep the nervous system in overdrive. Without effective strategies to manage stress, the body continues to carry the burden in the same areas over and over, with the neck and shoulders being prime targets. These muscles, already vulnerable due to posture and mechanical strain, become the storage units for unresolved emotional weight, leaving individuals not only mentally drained but also physically sore, stiff, and restricted in movement. Nutritional deficiencies are one of the most overlooked yet powerful contributors to neck and shoulder pain, and most people have no idea how much their diet influences their muscles and joints. Muscles rely on specific minerals and vitamins to contract and relax efficiently, and when these nutrients are lacking, the body begins to experience stiffness, cramping, and tension. Magnesium, for example, plays a critical role in muscle relaxation, yet it is one of the most common deficiencies in modern diets. Without adequate magnesium, muscles remain in a semi-contracted state, making it far easier for the neck and shoulders to become tight and sore. This creates a constant feeling of tension that no amount of stretching or massage can truly relieve. Vitamin D is another nutrient deeply tied to musculoskeletal health. It not only regulates calcium absorption but also influences how strong and resilient bones and muscles are. A lack of vitamin D can lead to muscle weakness, reduced bone density, and a heightened risk of inflammation in soft tissues. Many people with chronic pain in their upper back, neck, or shoulders may actually be experiencing the effects of low vitamin D levels, which reduce the body's ability to maintain proper muscle function. Since vitamin D deficiency is widespread due to limited sun exposure and poor diet, the pain linked to it is far more common than most people realize. Potassium is equally essential as it helps regulate nerve signals and fluid balance within muscles. Without enough potassium, muscles can spasm or cramp, particularly in areas that are already under constant strain, like the shoulders and neck. These spasms not only cause sharp bursts of pain, but also keep the muscles from fully recovering, leaving them vulnerable to ongoing tightness and fatigue. Low potassium levels can also affect the nervous system's ability to properly send and receive signals, which means even normal muscle contractions may feel painful or exaggerated when deficiencies exist. This makes dietary balance an inseparable part of addressing chronic tension. Calcium is often thought of in terms of bone health, but it is equally vital for muscle contraction. When calcium levels are low, the nervous system struggles to regulate muscle activity correctly, leading to twitching, cramping, and hypersensitivity in the muscles around the neck and shoulders. This is especially concerning because calcium and magnesium work in tandem. Calcium initiates muscle contraction while magnesium helps with relaxation. When either is missing or out of balance, the cycle of tension and release becomes disrupted, causing long-lasting pain and stiffness that can mimic more serious musculoskeletal problems. Inflammation is another major factor tied to nutritional deficiencies. A lack of omega-3 fatty acids, for example, makes the body more prone to chronic inflammation, which exacerbates pain in already stressed muscles and joints. The shoulders and neck, often the most overused and tense regions, are especially sensitive to this inflammatory environment. Inadequate intake of anti-inflammatory nutrients like omega-3 as antioxidants and certain B vitamins allows microscopic damage in the tissues to accumulate without proper repair. Over time, this creates a persistent soreness that lingers no matter how much rest or physical therapy someone undergoes. The modern diet, heavily centered on processed foods, sugar, and refined grains, only makes the problem worse. These foods strip the body of essential nutrients and replace them with inflammatory compounds that increase the risk of muscle pain. High sugar intake, for example, depletes magnesium stores in the body, further aggravating muscle tension. Excess sodium throws off the delicate balance of electrolytes, encouraging water retention and increasing the likelihood of muscle cramps. These dietary imbalances slowly but surely set the stage for recurring pain in the neck and shoulders, making nutritional health a foundation for physical comfort. Deficiencies also compromise energy production at the cellular level. Muscles require ATP, the body's energy currency, to function smoothly, and nutrients like B vitamins, magnesium, and CoQ10 are crucial for ATP synthesis. When these are lacking, muscles struggle to maintain their workload, becoming fatigued faster and more prone to stiffness. This lack of energy manifests as heaviness in the shoulders, tightness in the neck, and difficulty maintaining proper posture for long periods. Instead of being strong and supportive, the muscles become sluggish and strained, forcing other areas to overcompensate and fueling the cycle of discomfort. Long-term nutrient deficiencies can even alter the way nerves communicate with muscles. Without adequate electrolytes and vitamins, nerve signals may misfire, leading to tingling, numbness, or a burning sensation in the neck and shoulder region. This miscommunication between nerves and muscles makes pain feel sharper and more persistent, even when there is no acute injury. These neurological effects show that nutrition is not just about muscle strength, it is about the entire communication system that allows the body to move without pain. By correcting deficiencies, the body restores this delicate balance and relieves the unnecessary stress placed on sensitive areas like the neck and shoulders. When the head is constantly tilted forward, it creates more than just muscular strain. It begins to alter the way blood and oxygen flow throughout the body. The neck is not only a structural support for the head, but also a passageway for vital arteries and veins that carry blood to and from the brain. Forward head posture compresses these vessels, reducing circulation and limiting oxygen delivery to the brain. This is one of the hidden reasons why many people with neck and shoulder pain also experience headaches, dizziness, or brain fog. The reduced flow makes it harder for the brain to function optimally, leading to fatigue and decreased concentration even when there has been enough sleep. This posture also places immense pressure on the cervical vertebrae, which house and protect the spinal cord. When the neck is tilted forward, the discs between these vertebrae become compressed unevenly, narrowing the space where nerves exit the spine. This narrowing, known as foraminal stenosis, can irritate or pinch nerves, creating tingling, numbness, or shooting pain that travels into the shoulders and arms. What begins as a simple slouch over a computer screen slowly transforms into a neurological issue where the nerves themselves are affected by mechanical compression and reduced blood supply. The muscles of the neck are also affected by poor circulation caused by forward head posture. Muscles rely on a steady flow of oxygen and nutrients to recover from daily stress, but when blood flow is restricted, waste products like lactic acid build up more quickly. This buildup creates soreness and stiffness that feels unrelenting, especially in the trapezius and upper back. Even when someone tries to stretch or massage these areas, the relief is temporary because the real issue lies in restricted blood flow and continued mechanical strain. Over time, this environment leads to chronic fatigue in the muscles, making them weaker and more susceptible to further injury. Forward head posture affects not only the vessels and muscles, but also the lymphatic system, which plays a crucial role in removing toxins and maintaining fluid balance. Compression in the neck reduces lymphatic drainage, contributing to swelling, stiffness, and a heavy sensation in the shoulders. Without proper lymph flow, the tissues cannot efficiently clear out metabolic waste, and this stagnation contributes to inflammation and discomfort. The longer the head remains out of alignment, the more the body struggles to keep these cleansing and circulation systems functioning properly, fueling a cycle of pain and dysfunction. Another major consequence of reduced blood flow in the neck is its effect on the autonomic nervous system. The carotid arteries and vertebral arteries pass through sensitive regions that help regulate blood pressure and heart rate. When these arteries are compressed or irritated by constant forward tilt, signals to the nervous system can become disrupted. This explains why some people with poor posture report symptoms such as lightheadedness, irregular heartbeat sensations, or feelings of anxiety that have no clear mental trigger. The physical distortion of posture alone can interfere with how the nervous system regulates essential functions. Posture-related circulation issues also extend to the shoulders and arms. Nerves and blood vessels pass through narrow tunnels in the shoulder region, and when the head shifts forward, it changes the alignment of the collarbone and shoulder blade. This structural shift narrows these tunnels, leading to reduced blood supply to the arms and creating tingling or numbness in the hands and fingers. Many people mistake this for carpal tunnel syndrome or arthritis when in reality it is the neck posture choking off blood and nerve flow. This systemic effect shows how deeply posture influences the body far beyond simple muscle pain. Headaches linked to forward head posture are often vascular in origin, meaning they result from changes in blood flow to the brain. The restricted circulation can trigger tension, type headaches, or even migraines in people prone to them. These headaches are not random, they are a direct result of decreased oxygen delivery, increased pressure on blood vessels, and irritation of nerves around the cervical spine. This is why posture correction often leads to significant improvement in chronic headache sufferers, as realigning the head and neck restores proper flow and reduces vascular stress. Daily habits make this problem worse without people realizing it. Hours spent staring down at a phone, leaning forward at a computer, or driving with the head pushed ahead of the shoulders slowly train the body into this damaging alignment. The more time spent in this position, the more the tissues adapt to it, shortening in the front of the neck and overstretching in the back. This structural imbalance not only causes pain but reinforces the very circulatory and neurological issues that keep symptoms recurring. Breaking this pattern requires awareness and corrective action because the body will continue adapting to whatever posture it is placed in most often, whether healthy or harmful. Most people assume that the solution to neck and shoulder pain is simply to rest and wait for the body to heal on its own, but this approach often backfires. Rest alone may bring temporary relief, but prolonged inactivity weakens muscles and stiffens connective tissues, creating an even more fragile system. The neck and shoulders, already strained from poor posture and overuse, become less capable of supporting daily activities when left unused. Instead of recovering, the muscles begin to atrophy, the joints lose mobility, and the nervous system grows hypersensitive to even small movements. This misunderstanding of recovery is one of the main reasons why pain becomes chronic rather than improving over time. Another common mistake is relying solely on painkillers, muscle relaxants, or quick-fix treatments without addressing the underlying cause. While medications may dull discomfort, they do nothing to correct the structural imbalances, nutritional deficiencies, or stress patterns driving the pain. Over time, the body adapts to these drugs, requiring higher doses for the same level of relief while the actual problem worsens in the background. This creates a dependency that masks the issue instead of resolving it. Many people fall into this trap, thinking they are managing their pain, when in reality they are delaying true recovery and allowing deeper dysfunction to take root. Passive treatments like massage or heat therapy also fall short when used in isolation. While they may provide soothing relief and temporarily increase circulation, the benefits often fade quickly if muscles are not strengthened and retrained afterward. The body requires both relaxation and activation to restore balance. Without strengthening weak stabilizers and lengthening tight muscles, the pain simply returns once the soothing effect wears off. This cycle leaves people frustrated, wondering why their discomfort keeps coming back despite repeated attempts at treatment, when the real problem is that their recovery strategy is incomplete. True recovery requires intentional movement and targeted exercises that address both strength and flexibility. Weak deep stabilizers in the neck and core must be retrained to support the spine, while overworked muscles in the shoulders and upper back need to be released and balanced. This process may feel uncomfortable at first, as the body adjusts to new movement patterns, but it creates long-term resilience that passive strategies alone can never achieve. By gradually restoring balance to the musculoskeletal system, the body becomes capable of carrying loads efficiently without forcing the neck and shoulders into constant overcompensation. Stress management is another overlooked element of recovery. If someone continues to live in a high-stress state without addressing cortisol levels or relaxation techniques, the muscles of the neck and shoulders will remain tight regardless of physical therapy or exercise. Incorporating breathing exercises, meditation, or simply daily moments of deep relaxation helps reset the nervous system and allows muscles to truly let go of chronic tension. Without this component, recovery remains partial because the emotional triggers that tighten the muscles are never fully released. The body cannot heal effectively when it is constantly bracing for stress. Nutrition also plays a crucial role in the recovery process, but it is often ignored. Muscles and joints require specific nutrients to rebuild and repair, and without them, the healing process is slowed or incomplete. Magnesium, vitamin D, omega-3 fatty acids, and adequate protein intake are essential for tissue repair and reducing inflammation. When these elements are missing, even the best exercise and therapy routines may produce limited results. The body simply cannot restore balance if it does not have the raw materials it needs to rebuild damaged or overworked tissues. A comprehensive recovery strategy must therefore include both movement and proper nourishment. Daily habits must also be re-examined during recovery. Continuing to hunch over a desk, stare down at a phone, or sleep in unsupported positions will undo the progress made in therapy or exercise. The body adapts to what it does most consistently, so long-term recovery requires changing the very behaviors that created the pain in the first place. Ergonomic adjustments, posture awareness, and consistent micro-movements throughout the day are just as important as formal exercise. Without these adjustments, the muscles are repeatedly dragged back into harmful patterns, and pain eventually resurfaces no matter how effective the short-term recovery strategies seem. The most effective recovery strategy is a holistic one that combines strength training, mobility work, stress reduction, nutrition, and lifestyle adjustments. Each component works together to rebuild the body from the inside out, creating an environment where pain is no longer the dominant signal. Relying on only one approach, such as rest, medication, or massage, is like patching a leak without fixing the pipe. The neck and shoulders require a system-wide reset where every contributing factor is addressed. By restoring balance across all these elements, the body gradually regains its natural ability to heal and function without being trapped in a cycle of recurring pain.